All right, let's dive into this week's deep dive. We're tackling something I know a lot of you have wondered about: consulting services. Are they really worth it for businesses like yours? You're already out there crushing it, so do you really need to bring in a consultant, or is that just, another expense?
That's a question I get a lot, actually. And the truth is, it's not a one-size-fits-all answer.
Right, of course. It's like you wouldn't hire a professional chef just to make scrambled eggs, would you?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
But maybe, just maybe, that same chef's expertise could help you perfect, like, I don't know, a souffle you've always wanted to master.
Now you're talking. It's all about bringing in that specialized knowledge. And you might be surprised to learn it's not just those mega corporations who can benefit from that kind of strategic thinking. I've been a consultant for over a number of years, guiding businesses of all sizes, and let me tell you, the need for a fresh perspective, it's pretty universal.
That's interesting. I mean, our research for this deep dive really challenged that whole idea that consulting is just for the big players.
Right.
It's almost like, how should I put this? It's like saying even a speedboat can benefit from a skilled navigator, not just those massive cargo ships.
I love that analogy. And the reason is simple. Every business, whether you're running a local bakery or, you're a tech giant, you face obstacles.
Obstacles, yeah.
It might be that new software that's giving you a headache. Or maybe you're wrestling with those supply chain nightmares everyone's talking about.
Oh, tell me about it.
Or even just, trying to stand out in a market that's already overflowing. Every business has its challenges.
It's like everyone's facing a different flavor of the same problem, right?
Yeah, exactly. Those challenges, they're everywhere. But the resources to tackle them, well, that's a different story.
Definitely a different story.
Just picture this for a second. You're a passionate, let's say, a florist. You're amazing at what you do.
Okay, love it.
But now you're trying to get an online shop up and running.
Right, which is like a whole other business on top of the one you already have.
Exactly. And you're still trying to manage everything else, the day-to-day stuff that keeps the lights on.
It can be overwhelming.
Now, imagine a consultant with e-commerce expertise steps in. They could come in and, streamline that whole process, help you avoid those, what have I gotten myself into, meltdowns.
I've been there.
And ultimately, that florist, they're freed up to do what they do best, create those stunning arrangements.
It's like having that tech-savvy friend you can call in a pinch, but, with actual credentials and a proven track record this time.
Precisely.
So, okay, we've busted that first myth. Consulting, it's not just for the Fortune 500. But then there's this other assumption I hear a lot about how consultants just, point out the obvious, the stuff that everyone already sees but just, chooses to ignore.
You're talking about the fresh eyes advantage. It's a real thing,
Okay, explain that, because honestly, I'm a little skeptical.
You ever do one of those word searches and you stare at it for an hour, convinced the missing word just isn't there? And then someone walks by, glances at it for 2 seconds, and bam, finds it instantly.
Oh, all the time. It's a special skill I have, missing things that are in plain sight. Drives me crazy.
See, that's exactly it. It's not that you're not looking, it's that your perspective, it's inherently tied to the situation.
Yeah.
But a consultant, they come in with this unbiased, objective lens.
They do, yeah.
They can spot those inefficiencies, those bottlenecks, maybe even some untapped opportunities that you're just, too close to see.
So they're like, what, business detectives or something?
Exactly. Analyzing the clues, uncovering the hidden potential. It's pretty cool when you think about it.
Okay, business detective. I'll give you that one. That's a pretty good way to put it. So it's not just about seeing the what. It's about understanding the why. And speaking of why, this might be a dumb question, but even if a consultant comes in, identifies all the issues, what's to stop them from just handing over a fancy report and then, poof, disappearing? Where's the actual roll up your sleeves, get it done?
Help, not disappearing. That's actually a misconception we've got to clear up right away. Implementation, that's key. A good consultant's not going to leave you hanging with just a to-do list.
Okay, so it's more hands-on than that.
Oh, yeah, much more. Think of it like having a partner to help you actually tackle those to-dos. In my experience, the really good ones, they roll up their sleeves right alongside you.
Oh, I like that. So it's less, here's what you should do, and more, here's how we're going to make this happen together.
You got it. That's the sweet spot.
That makes a lot more sense. It reminded me of something we were looking at during our research for this episode. There's this business owner. They had this incredible marketing plan, killer strategy on paper. but they just couldn't, like they struggled to actually put it into action.
Yep, I've seen that happen a bunch of times. It's one thing to have the plan, it's another to actually execute it.
Exactly. So that's where a consultant can really make a difference, that hands-on approach, actually guiding you through the implementation.
Absolutely. I had this client a while back, brilliant furniture maker, amazing vision, right? But they were having a heck of a time with pricing and inventory. They just couldn't quite get a handle on it. So we worked together, side by side, not just to develop a system that made sense for them, but to actually train their team on how to use it.
Right. So it's about creating solutions that actually last, not just putting on a temporary Band-Aid.
That's it. Sustainable solutions, that's the goal.
That makes a ton of sense. But, okay, can I be honest for a second?
Always.
There's one thing that always comes to mind when I think about hiring a consultant, and I bet a lot of our listeners are thinking it too.
Let's hear it.
The cost. Even with all these benefits, having that expert guidance has got to come with a pretty hefty price tag, right?
It's a valid concern, absolutely. And you're not wrong. Consulting is an investment. But here's the thing. It's an investment that can bring incredible returns. Think of it this way. A really skilled consultant, and they're like, I don't know, a financial detective?
Ooh, a financial detective. Now I'm intrigued.
They're not just looking at the obvious costs. They're digging deeper.
Okay.
Uncovering hidden costs, inefficiencies, maybe even those missed opportunities that are, silently draining your resources.
So it's not even just about cutting costs. It's about, optimizing how you operate on every level.
Bingo. You're getting it. And, a big part of that optimization often involves, something we touched on earlier. Technology.
Right. Because in today's world, things are changing so fast. If you're not keeping up with the latest and greatest, it feels like you're falling behind.
It's tough. And that's another area where a consultant can really prove their worth. They can help you stay ahead of the curve.
But how? I mean, there's so much out there. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose sometimes. How can a consultant actually help businesses, especially businesses like the ones listening right now, cut through all that noise?
You've got to find the right solution for your specific needs, It's not about chasing after every shiny new tech gadget that comes along. For example, one area that's super relevant for most businesses these days is data analytics.
Data analytics.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of those buzzwords you hear everywhere.
Right.
But I'm not going to lie, I don't always understand, the practical applications of it. Like, say I'm running, I don't know, a small bakery.
A bakery? I love it.
What kind of data insights could a consultant actually help me uncover?
You'd be surprised how much data even a bakery generates. Imagine this. Your sales on those amazing chocolate croissants, the ones everyone raves about, they suddenly dip.
Uh-oh. Now the chocolate croissants.
Exactly. Now, a consultant who specializes in data analytics, they might use something called basket analysis to figure out what your customers are buying instead.
Basket analysis.
Yeah.
Okay, you're losing me a little.
It's basically looking at what people buy together. So maybe they're going for a new pastry you introduced, or maybe it's just a seasonal thing and they're not craving those chocolate croissants as much in the summer, The point is that data can help you adjust. Maybe you change up your display or create a new combo deal, or even just anticipate those trends in the future.
So it's about taking all those data points and turning them into something you can actually use. So instead of just knowing what's selling, I could understand the why behind it and make smarter decisions because of it.
Exactly. Data-driven decisions. That's the name of the game.
I like it.
And the best part is, you don't need to hire a whole team of data scientists to unlock these insights. A consultant can help you figure out what level of data analysis makes sense for you, recommend tools that won't break the bank, maybe even train your staff to gather and understand that data.
It's like you're empowering your entire business to be more data-driven without needing a PhD in algorithms.
Exactly. Remember that Blockbuster example we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah. How can I forget?
They didn't adapt to how things were changing. And look what happened. A consultant can help you avoid that. They'll help you analyze those market trends, anticipate what your competitors might do, and use data to stay ahead of the game. It's about making proactive decisions, not just reacting after the fact.
So it's like having a secret weapon. But instead of lasers and spaceships, it's spreadsheets and algorithms.
Maybe not as flashy, I'll grant you that, but just as powerful in the long run. And that actually brings us to another really important point. Let's say you're convinced. You're thinking, all right, a consultant could really benefit my business. How do you actually choose the right one? That's the tricky part.
That's a great question, because it's like finding a business partner, right? It's got to be the right fit, not just someone to check things off a list.
You hit the nail on the head. It's a partnership for sure.
Right.
So where do you even begin?
Well, you said it yourself. It's a partnership, so it's got to be more than just a resume, right?
Yeah.
I mean, beyond their actual expertise, you need someone you can actually work with, someone who, gets your vision and can gel with your team.
100%. Speaking from experience, being on both sides of that table, a good consultant should feel like they're part of your team, not just some, outsider swooping in for a bit.
Right.
So when you're checking out potential consultants, look at their past projects, see what their clients have to say about them, even pay attention to how they communicate, Does it click with you? Does it feel right?
Okay, so you've done your research, found a few consultants who seem like they could be a good fit. What's next? What happens then? I feel like it's easy to kind of get lost at that stage,
This is where having that super clear scope of work is essential. Before you even think about starting the project, you and your consultant, you need to sit down and hammer out a written agreement.
Okay, so none of that handshake agreement stuff.
Trust is important, definitely.
Yeah.
But having it all in writing, it protects everyone. It makes sure you're both on the same page from day one, outlines responsibilities, expectations, timelines, the budget, everything.
So no surprises down the road.
Exactly. Think of it like a roadmap for your collaboration.
I like that. It's like that old saying, get it in writing.
Exactly.
Words to live by, especially in business. We've covered a lot of, the practical stuff today, but I feel like it's important to touch on the less tangible stuff too, right? Those like added bonuses of bringing in a consultant.
I was just thinking about that. It's not just about the strategies and solutions. It's about how it makes you feel, It can actually be really empowering.
How so?
Think about it. You're gaining knowledge, building confidence in your own decision-making, and ultimately, you feel more in control of where your business is going.
It's like having that, that trusted advisor in your corner, someone who's been there, done that, and can offer that guidance when things get tough.
Exactly. That feeling that you're not alone, especially when you're facing those big, scary decisions, that's huge.
Absolutely. So to kind of bring things home here, it sounds like hiring a consultant is so much more than just like getting someone to tell you what to do. It's about tapping into that specialized knowledge, having that support system to actually make changes happen, and even just like gaining a newfound confidence in what you're capable of.
Beautifully put. It's an investment, not just in your business today, but in where you want to be tomorrow.
I love that. So with that in mind, we want to leave you with something to think about. What part of your business, that one area, could really benefit from an expert's perspective? What's that one challenge you've been wrestling with that might be better tackled with someone, with that specialized knowledge by your side?
Write those thoughts down. See where they take you. You might be surprised by what you discover when you're open to those fresh perspectives.
And hey, we're always here to help you navigate this crazy world of business. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.